Ken for Westfield Community Programming. Each and every election cycle for the past decade, we have invited in everyone running for City Council, both ward and at large, incumbent and challenging. And this year is no different. An email went out to every single candidate inviting them to come in for the interview that we do. Each interview is 10 questions, and it's the same question to each and every candidate. Most of the questions are an amalgam of what I pulled from social media as to how people feel, questions they may have, etc. This year, instead of doing everything live in the morning, we have pre-recorded in the afternoon. And all of the videos are being released at once. Also, by doing this, nobody has an idea as to what the questions are. The interviews that you see in this series are those of the City Council candidates who replied saying they would like to take part of it. Not all did. Make sure you get out and vote in November. Hi, Ken again for Westfield Community Programming, where we are continuing with the interviews of the candidates for City Council here in Westfield, both at large and ward. Each candidate gets asked 10 questions. They all get the same 10 questions. They haven't heard of what the questions are in advance. Regarding the questions, they're basically an amalgam of questions and topics that I put together from social media. In the studio now is City Council at-large candidate Brent Bean. Hello, Brent.
Good evening.
Good
morning.
Evening, or good, we have no idea.
No idea yet.
Yeah.
Good day. Good day.
Good day, sir.
Good day.
We do have the 10 questions. I allot up to 30 minutes. We don't have to use the full 30 minutes.
Got it.
And then after 10 questions, I do give you the opportunity to get up on your soapbox and
Sure.
plead your case. Seeing you are at large, you do have it's not a shoe-in. We have 3 that aren't going to make it in. So you're going to
11 for 7.
Right.
Is what it is. So
Yeah.
4 actually. I think it might be 4.
So you'll get a chance to plead your case. But I just have to say one thing before we start, man. I'm having a hard time looking at you and interviewing you right now with a straight face.
Yeah. It's a new addition to Brent Bean's look. The mustache is 3 weeks old, and I've never had one. So I don't think it lasts much more after this interview. But, it depends how the wife.
Yeah, when you first walked in, I had my glasses off. I thought you were Jimmy Adams for a minute.
Hey, I've been called worse. I've been called worse. Called worse.
All right, we'll try to get through this.
Yes, of course.
So question number 1, what are your thoughts on building a new combined comprehensive high school?
I think when we started debating this when it came to the bond or the intent letter to send to the state last April, because you have to kind of get in the queue to make these things happen. And when it comes to funding and, it is run through the state, so they have to program their pieces and, kind of move through this process. We decided not, I voted to submit an intent letter of what our plans would be. It didn't pass. We kind of, there wasn't a big consensus on this issue. On that, at that point, I was really pushing for the comprehensive high school. It's the bigger endeavor in the sense of cost. We think. Right. Originally, I said, listen, we have enough room up by the high school. I feel that the high school really hasn't seen it, the funding and, the upkeep and just the maintenance on the building as a whole. So that's kind of where my focus was. Even hearing from teachers and administrators there. And being someone who went there and graduated in 1991, it's been, 1971, 2, something like that when it was
72.
Built. So, and I grew up there. My backyard is the high school track, so that's where my mom is. So I've seen it through all these years, and so I think overall I was going that route. The way that the intent letter was going to go was that we were going to put the tech school for a renovation or new tech school. It's probably more renovated. And then the secondary project would be that comprehensive look. Comprehensive high school today is going to cost us $400 million, give or take. But that's today. That's not 5 to 10 years from now. So I think, to be realistic, I think I'm leaning more now to the renovations of both schools. It's just not as simple as saying, "Oh, you're for a comprehensive." We like the idea, but I think because of where our campus is at Voc Tech and where our campus is at Westfield High School, and I call it Voc Tech, so apologize to everybody, but WTA. I would probably go with the renovation of the tech, and then hopefully not much, time after that, a full renovation on the high school and hopefully addition. The problem is the state now is they say that we don't fund pools. They're starting to take pieces of the projects away, and we just did almost $1 million renovation.
The pool,
of the pool, right?
Yeah.
5-10 years from now, it's a different conversation. Look at what we're doing with the athletic fields, which has been a huge push for the last 10 years minimum. When I ran for mayor back in 2007, the number one issue out there was building a new high school. Well, you can see where we are right now, 18 years later, give or take. So I probably now, not to sit on the fence, but with all things equal, I'm on the side of Voc getting their renovation and then the high school getting their renovation in that order. Because I also think that the college world is shifting a little bit, and the trade side and the tech stuff is becoming more and more important.
All right. We're going to go on to number 2, and just a little note that we are on track to be way behind right now.
Already.
Yeah.
Sorry. Go ahead.
Okay. You weren't the first one either. Number 2, what needs to be done to get more business development in Westfield?
I mean, first, we need to take an inventory of what we have available. Open space, open property. We need to take a look at our zoning to make sure that it can actually, house the stuff that we're looking to house in those areas. Infrastructure. Zoning dictates a lot, and we're always a little reactive when it comes to that, like most cities and towns, but we have a lot of open property. So it would behoove us if we actually spent some time and zoned it appropriately, even with the aquifer issue over on the north side where most of this open land is. And then, make sure the infrastructure is in place and that it can handle it, making sure that the piping in the ground can get the expansion and so forth. But then also hiring an economic development director. We need someone to steward these projects. We need continuity in City Hall. That's no offense to any mayor that was in front of us, but a lot of these mayors come in and out for 6, 5, 10 years, whatever the number might be on a 2-year term. So you just, for planning purposes, you need that vision. And when you have a mayor that comes in, 4 years, 6 years, you don't really have that. And it's hard to change these movements. But we had an economic development director years ago. We had a part-time one, lack of a better term. The mayor and I disagree on this particular issue when it comes to economic development. And I just feel that it's a vital piece of us raising more money for the town rather than relying on a lot of the residential tax base, because our commercial tax base is okay. But for us, with open property, access with the pike, and our own water, sewer, gas and electric, I say it all the time, hospital, college, on and on and on. We're pretty self-sustaining.
Yeah. We can do better.
We can absolutely do better, a lot better, in my opinion.
Oh, boy, I think this is one you're really going to like. Why are things always built but never maintained?
Yeah. We are a community that loves the new shiny nickel. We really do. We like the new shiny stuff, and if it could be technology or a new building, but we do a terrible job when it comes to the day-to-day maintenance and operation stuff. It really, I've said it publicly. That's why I know you're half smiling. I've said it a lot. It's been more. It's harder and harder to find people to fill the jobs like DPW or custodial staff or just general maintenance to have that money available and the manpower to actually conduct the maintenance. But we've never budgeted appropriately for these things. We just kind of are always putting fires out. And unfortunately, it's rearing its head. I mean, look at we're building a new police station, right? The police station has always, since I've been on the council 23 years, is always been a subpar building, but we never maintained it anyway. Outside of the own police staff maintaining it, right? And now we're looking at a $45 million brand new building because the state says it's going to cost us $1,000 a square foot. It's a little on us, but it's a lot on the state too for putting those kind of numbers together. Like a new elementary school costing us $60+ million.
Right.
You know, that was $1,000.
Massachusetts going rate.
Yeah, it went from like $300 and something a square foot at the beginning of Franklin Ave's school, or the Westfield River Elementary School. Now it's up to $1,000. It's criminal as far as I'm concerned, and the state really needs to start looking at those formulas because it's not something that the cities and towns are going to be able to keep up with. As you see now, everybody's going to the ballots to build the schools. You just saw Longmeadow and East Longmeadow and Agawam.
Over $1,000 a year in Longmeadow.
That's right.
Per house to have that school.
We're in a slippery slope, and I think anything we do now, any new building is going to have to go to after the police station. 5 years from now, when we have to go, I'm tough on the actual years on when we can build a new school, but I'm not convinced that we're going to be able to handle the debt. And we're probably going to have to go out for a debt exclusion or an override. And I think a debt exclusion is just a little bit more palatable. I don't think it passes this community right now, but
Right now, no.
yeah, and I get it because things cost way too much money. So
All right. Why do we have dead fire hydrants in our neighborhoods?
we have dead fire hydrants in our neighborhoods because we haven't maintained them appropriately. It just so
I see
happens
a pattern here.
Yeah, it just so happens that my uncle was Ralph Fox. Ralph Fox used to do the backflow process for the water department years ago. I mean, before I was on the council, 30 years ago. I'm not convinced we've had our hands around it since then. Not because he's my uncle. It's just it was back then. It was one or two people would do it. It's all in their head. It was the processes were never written down. It wasn't followed only because you always had a couple of individuals handling that situation. I know we've had issues downtown when there was a fire that had happened, months back, and the fire chief came out and said that there wasn't enough pressure to handle the situation. Not sure why he's the spokesperson of the city at that given moment, but it's real and it's a reality. At this point, I know the council has pointed to those issues, and I know the water department is in the process of making sure that's all squared away and safe. But it's just old infrastructure, and you start putting sprinkler systems on water lines too. The pressure is kind of going out the window. But we're 1669 city. We're old, and we up until a few years ago we were pulling wood pipes out of the ground.
Yeah, there were wood sewer pipes downtown.
Yeah. So we're an expensive city to run. I mean, one of the second, third biggest land masses around and roadways, but when we have our own water system and we don't have to just go out and buy it, we've got to maintain these, and it's a fortune. And the water rates went up through the Water Commission, which prevents people from using their water. Well, we need the revenue. Then you're going to go back and charge them more. Residents can't do it anymore. They just can't. So I just think I want department heads, I want mayors, I want even state reps and senators to make sure that I think someone would be a hero if we took care of the day-to-day operations rather than worrying about the next shiny new nickel. That's kind of where I'm at with it. And I know it's blunt, and I'm not pointing any fingers because we're all at fault on this. But now the money's there, and money's It's just expensive to do the work, and we're playing a little catch up.
All right. This is a wonky one.
Yeah.
What is one code you would like to remove or amend, and why? And I'm not asking you to quote the actual Muni code, just
Yeah.
whatever ordinance or regulation.
Yeah. That's a great question. You know, so, some of the ordinances that are in place really cost businesses a lot of money. When you start getting into permitting, you know, you might get into some of the Department of Environmental Protection. Those we almost put our own layers in there, even though a lot of these people have to jump through the MEPA process on the environmental side. But as far as the ordinance goes, you know, I think we're a little restrictive when it comes to building. So like frontage, we're as good as our last vote. So you know, if I had it'd be a series of ordinances that would be a little bit more flexible for us to build and construct companies or housing. Right now, we kind of tie our hands a lot, and we have to bring the state in, and the state sometimes will give us some grant money for it, but also put a layer of rules. So to point to one, you know, I just want it to be more. I want to be less restrictive when it comes to building new business and new residential housing in Westfield. And if it's about frontage and wetland delineation and any kind of, you know, reg around them, I think we could be better and a little bit more flexible when it comes to that. I know that probably doesn't answer exactly the question, but
Well, it points us in a direction.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. Halfway through and halfway through. We're right on time.
Pick it up.
Yes. What has to be done to get leaf pickup back?
Yeah, I don't know, I live on Ridgecrest Drive, and
You just threw them over the edge.
yeah.
right?
I have a back property. A lot, you know, even though there's so many leaves, I have a tendency to bring a trailer and bring them to the dump. You know, I think because money is so tight, I'm not convinced that leaf pickup is probably prudent. I mean, unless the residents really want to pay for the service.
According to
Yeah.
social media, a lot
Yeah,
of people
yeah.
are looking for it.
Yeah,
They don't have a way of transporting these
They don't.
to City Hall or Twist Street.
Yeah, and that's the hard thing. I mean, to get actual pickups, you know, it's probably. I mean, you could outsource it. I mean, that's probably the way to do it. We just don't have the manpower to do it, or, you know, in some instances, the vehicles. Although, you know, the DPW is flush with equipment. In that particular case, you know, I guess it's situational. I mean, it would be nice if we could leverage the city a little bit on, you know, outsourcing it and have people do it. I'm just not, because it's going to be a permitted thing anyway. You're not going to charge everybody for leaf pickup, and some use it and some don't. It'd almost be like a dump sticker. So if there's a way to do a sticker, that's probably the easiest way to go. I'm not sure how to manage it, and I'm not saying it's going to be easy. You know, I think bulk pickup was one of those items. People really want bulk pickup, and that was one that every year would come out of the budget and then go back in the budget. And then, you know, so the same with leaf pickup. It's just, unfortunately, it's not a big priority for me at all. And right now we are having very, very hard times when it comes to getting rid of our trash. I know the leaf pickup would be a different situation, but we're driving to like South Hadley. We were driving to South Windsor to get rid of our trash. No, actually Granby, Mass, and then South Windsor. So you can imagine when a truck fills up and drives all the way there. I mean, gas alone and wear and tear on the vehicle. It's changed a little bit. It's gotten a little bit easier, but no one's taken it. So for us to add a service, outside of outsourcing it, I'm not sure we could ever get there. I know that's not something that people want to hear, and I know the frustration. I mean, if I do leaves in my house, I would do 500
Yeah,
bags.
see, I cut down my trees so I don't have to. worry.
Well, and then there's that too.
Yeah.
So, so unfortunately, no, I'm not. I'm not. You know, do a sticker and let people do it on their own would be something I would do.
I'd be good with a sticker program.
Yeah.
You know, $1 a bag. You know,
Yeah, it might-
those
whatever it
big
costs.
paper round
Yeah.
bags we used to stuff.
Yeah. And we could take it at the dump and we still do that.
Yeah. All right. What can be done to better deal with the electric scooters and the youth using them? Probably not as big a problem over in Ridgeview.
Oh, yeah, Ridgecrest. Yeah, no. Although we do get a couple of them here or there. And, you know, we were kids that grew up on the hill and we always had back trails. So you would always see ATVs and quads and some boat motorcycles or mopeds and stuff going in and out of stuff. And now it's clearly out of hand. You really just got to prevent any of those vehicles in the downtown and anything on the sidewalks. And the state's playing catch up when it comes to laws. You know, do you wear a helmet? How fast can these things go? So I think we're playing a little catch up right now. We're putting Bill Oniski had introduced something into the council about an ordinance. You know, the problem is they're saying that we have to post with signage to prevent this stuff from happening. And you know where I am on
And you want more signs, don't you?
yeah, it's just more litter on our streetscape, and we've paid a lot of money down there to keep it somewhat good. But that's what I would say. So we are moving forward with that. They're dangerous. They're extremely dangerous. Kids are going way too fast. They're not wearing helmets. The bike trail's another thing. I mean, I don't think they should be allowed on the bike trail. Unfortunately, they should be in the road, and people are protecting themselves. And unfortunately, a lot of these kids are way below any kind of driving age. So but that's the kind of speed we're dealing with. They got to be outlawed altogether.
All right.
Especially on the sidewalks.
What is your largest concern regarding Westfield right now?
It's economic development. You know, it's I've been on a bit of a cause lately with our downtown because I really believe in it's a piece of it because I think we've seen a little bit of an uptick on some stores opening up, you know, some restaurants and things, and I think we got a long way to go. Being, you know, kids that you and I that grew up, you know, in Westfield all our lives and saw when J.J. Newberry's burnt down, right?
Yeah, rode my bike from the hill.
That's right.
And I watched Newberry's burn.
That's right.
Yeah.
And that, you know, back ever since then, you know, my mother lived on Central Street. She grew up on Central Street.
And yet just a few years before it burned, I remember the sidewalk sales.
Yeah, right. So
I'm old enough to remember that.
I don't think we ever get back to that, obviously, with Amazon and online buying and
No.
stuff. But economic development because of the incentive it brings to the city. But downtown in general, for me, community policing, ordinances in place to mandate business owners to make sure they upkeep their property, and a DPW program to make sure it's spotless down there. Leaf pickup to what's it called? Graffiti on the walls. No successful city doesn't have a successful downtown, and we need to be better. I see it happening. We're starting to look a little better down there, but we've got to assist everybody too. You know, the bus station is an issue. It's a constant grind on the police department. Walmart is a complete grind on the police department. Hamden Ponds in the summer is a grind on the police department. So they're spending more time there than, and they want to, and they're going to promise us that they're going to have some community police officers more prevalent down there.
We had the storefront downtown
Yeah.
for community policing.
Yeah, we did, and you know, 55 officers right now. We can go to 70. That no one's going into law enforcement. That's part of the problem too. But economic development, we've got to get a couple of people there, and you know, a grant writer to assist in that process. There's a lot of monies out there that we're not taking advantage of, and we've got to attract more businesses. We're a pretty attractive community. Again, very self-sustaining, open land for development if we do it appropriately. Mass Pike entrance. You know, outside of that, I know it's tough to get around Westfield. You know, unless you go through, you know, Simsbury that way, Southwick Simsbury. But I you know, and I don't see why we couldn't just put a plan together and make sure that we're funding these positions to keep moving forward.
Okay. You keep getting further away from your mic like you do at city council meetings.
My apologies.
Number 9. What is your priority over the next 2 years?
Yeah, I guess I'm gonna bang the drum again. My priority in the last 6 months, and then 4 or 5 years before that, one was the athletic fields. That was although I think Tom Flaherty, I give Tom Flaherty the credit, all said and done, but I've been pushing the maintenance and the revitalization of that stuff, and the turf fields that the high school is going to get, and the Boardman Field and the new softball field. That was a priority for me moving forward. I know it's not something that everybody wants to hear. They want to hear about roads, but people forget that our job is obviously to make sure the infrastructure is moving forward, but it's also to create a community, and we want people to live here. We got our butts kicked when we put money towards the pickleball courts. Well, the pickleball courts are the most used thing right now.
Every time I drive over
Right.
to the studio, they're being used.
Yeah, so we got to build a community, and we've got to put our money forward on those things. So with that being said, and now moving forward, I think my number one priority is the downtown. It's really to put everybody, all the managers, accountable. They've got to DPW's got to put a plan together to make sure that everything's cleaned up and maintained. That we talked about community policing. They have to have a police presence walking downtown, and then we have to sit with planning and if an economic development director comes around, but the planning piece, we got to put ordinances in place to make sure the residents down there and the business owners maintain their property. That's something, we have a lot of people that are absentee landlords down there. And we always get the calls, especially the ones off of like Meadow Street and Mechanic Street. I get a lot of that. We do very well now. Like, you've seen a little bit of a renaissance in that Pleasant Street area, a little bit of a renaissance behind City Hall. A lot of people are buying those properties and doing new siding and new roofs. And I know that's not the downtown per se, but it is the downtown core area. And I think if we really get our arms around that, we're going to see more businesses coming, and we'll see more people coming down. We have a lot of money in this town. We want to spend it here, and I'm going to keep pushing that forward for the next year or so, and try to get that program in place so that it just happens year after year. Because when a mayor changes, and Mike's been good about it, but when a mayor changes or a DPW changes, priorities change, and we've got to lock these processes in place. So.
All right, I've got 4 minutes to cover one last question and then your final statement.
Sure.
Number 10, what makes you qualified?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I started when I was 28 years old. I'm 53 now, longest serving city councilor. I think what I bring to the table is a little continuity, a little experience. I do have my master's in regional planning from Westfield State. I got my undergrad at AIC. And I kind of speak my mind. People might not like it. I do point things out. I don't want to single anybody out, and I'll never publicly, get in someone's face about things. But I really think that because of my experience and knowing how things work on the day-to-day operational side, I can assist, because it's going to take all of us. I can definitely assist on things that will work. I think a priority of where our money's going. I've been on finance forever. I was a city council president for 6 years, I think now. John might be creeping up on that.
He's getting close.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I like to think I play a leadership role there. I know sometimes, Brent, what's Brent going to say this time? But as I feel, and I have facts to back most of this stuff up, because feelings, sometimes you project them. I would say that what do I got? 12 terms, something like that. 12 terms. I did stay off. I had the run for mayor in 07, didn't win, so I was off for 2 years. I was a water commissioner for a couple of years, and I just like to believe that, we can sit in a room and have discussions and arguments, but in the end, it's not personal. It's just to get it done. And I'm starting to be more emboldened with my words and really pointing things out that need to be fixed. You'll see that more and more. I don't know if it's an age thing. I'm not 28.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not 28 now. When Adam Liptak told me how to vote, you know, and that was all good stuff. But that for me is, you know, I'm going to be a little bit more forceful to show what I believe should happen. And you know, that's why there's 13 of us. You vote, and we're as good as our last vote. If an ordinance doesn't work, hey, we just take it away, you know, next meeting. You know, we're not doing rocket science here, and we're not doing brain surgery. It's let's see if things work, and if they don't, we can change it. It's not in concrete, you know.
All right. I've got a minute and a half for you to get up on your soapbox, address the constituents of Westfield, to give them your plea for 1 of 7 votes for at large.
Yeah, you know, obviously, I wouldn't do this if I didn't want to do it. I grew up here all my life by the high school, and then now living in Ridgecrest, and married my wife of 23 years or 25 years now.
Get that right.
25 years now. It's easy. It's 2000, so it's easy. And raised 2 kids here, and you know, I want them to stay here. I do. I want them to work here. We already have one daughter already branching out to Boston, and I have another daughter working in town here. And you know, it's hard because the jobs are not here. So that always concerns me. And you know, everything I do is not self-serving. I always think about what's best for the city. I will say that it's not easy. It's not easy, but I'm willing to make a decision. I would ask all the residents of Westfield is that support people that take a stand on things rather than prolonging these votes and projects and always over analyzing. It's that paralysis by analysis. I'm just not that guy. I mean, I'll definitely take all the facts in, and you know, but sometimes you got to make a decision, and you got to make a fast decision. I have no problem doing that. You know, again, I think it might be I mean, I'm the longest serving city councilor currently. I'm not the longest ever. I think somebody's got 36 or 37 years.
Right.
And I plan on keeping going. You know, I want to see projects that I started to fruition, and I'll always be accessible to people. I always call back people. I always listen to what they're doing, and something that might not be important to me might be important to that individual. I'm not saying you're always going to hear the right answer, but you're going to get the answer. And you might get a no on the council as a vote too. You know, I don't know. But even when it comes to the day-to-day operations, I know things are pretty parochial for people, and I try to tell them, you know, my feelings on the issue, and then you know we can address it as we move forward. So I'm just not afraid to take the stand. I'm just not. And you know, if people don't like it, that's fine. But it is what it is. And I'm always going to be accessible to people. So I would always, you know, what I would ask, and you know, I wouldn't be I was brought up in a venue of a very good politicians, I guess, in the end, someone that were stewards of Westfield, and they've always said you got to ask for that vote. So I would say I would ask for all residents in Westfield for their vote on November 4th, that first Tuesday.
All right. City Councilor at large candidate Brent Bean, thanks for coming in.
Great. Thanks, Ken. Appreciate it, like always.